So welcome back, everybody. A few weeks ago, a viewer close to where I live, about 45 minutes away from me, contacted me and said he had some really nice pine logs on the ground that if I was interested in, I could come get. And I got there and he had some super nice logs. This is one of them right here. This is actually the biggest one. This pine log measures about 22 inches at the base and about 20 inches at the top side. The problem with that is my mill is not completely set up yet. My plan is to put a winch and a ramp on it so I can winch logs up onto the log deck, but right now all I've got is a little Ford 3000 and a lift boom on the back. But I need to mill this log because I don't want it to sit here. Pine tends to get that gray blue stain in it if it sits on the ground long enough, and it'll get bugs in it. I don't like that stain very much. A lot of people seem to like it, but I just don't care for it. So I want to go ahead and get it off the ground and mill it. Like I've said before, we're remodeling our house and we want to make a dining room table out of some nice pine slabs. So I think this is going to be a good candidate. It's an older log, it was a big tree, and I think that it'll make some stuff that we can really use. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it off the ground and onto the mill with a little tractor. I'm not so sure what's going to happen. We're going to try our best to do it. So in its current state, I am pretty confident that the tractor cannot handle this log. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it back. It's about 10 feet long. We're going to cut it back to about 8.5 feet. What we want is 6-foot boards for this project, but we don't need this place where the wedge was cut out, and the bottom of this log is kind of ugly anyway. So we're going to go ahead and cut it back to 8.5 feet, and I think that will help out the tractor immensely. Look at those growth rings. This is going to be some nice lumber. So as you saw, this log is incredibly heavy. So what we're going to do, since we only need 6-foot boards for this table, I'm going to cut it back to 7 feet and see how much that helps. That'll give us 6 inches of leeway on either side of these boards, and that'll help us deal with being able to square them off and deal with any checking and stuff like that, and that'll give us a little bit less weight to deal with. So I'm really not interested in doing that again. That was way too much for the tractor, and that could have ended in disaster in several different ways. It's time to go ahead and put the ramps on this mill to get a safer way to get these logs up here. But now we got it up here, I'm excited to see what's inside of it. Let's get the mill going and open it up. So that log ended up producing 7 slabs that are a little over 2 inches thick. The very last slab was a little over 3 inches thick, and they're 7 feet long and they're 17 inches wide, and they are just beautiful, beautiful slabs. So I'm really excited to see what kind of a table we can make out of them once they get good and dry. So what did we learn from today's video and the fiasco with the log earlier? We learned that I need a ramp system for my mill to create a safe situation to get those logs up onto the mill. I certainly did not feel comfortable making the tractor do that. I felt like it was a fairly dangerous situation, but it did work out. One of the things that I could have done to help out a little bit was to put those log dogs on the end of the log. That would have allowed the log to rest one end on the ground while I was skidding it over to the mill. That would have alleviated some of the load on the tractor, and it helped out at least a little bit. But all's well that ends well, I guess. We got some really nice lumber out of it. I would not advise doing that at home, but we got some good lumber, and I'm excited to see what we can do with it. But that's all I've got for today's video. I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button before you get out of here. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.